Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to a timed set. We are in day 24 if you're keeping track, and we're going to be hitting up legs and back today. So we're going to have pretty good chunks of time that we're going to be working through. So 2 minutes will be our leg set, and then 1 minute will be our back set, and then we'll have a 1 minute transition period. We'll hit some stretches, some mobility, maybe some core, dead bugs, bird dogs, and the like. I have a set of 20s and I have my 24 kilo kettlebell that I'm going to be using for today. At least that's the plan. So there might be some things that I need to take a couple breaks with, but we have 6 rounds of work and we're only going through one set. So I'm going to allow myself breaks if I need between, but I'm going to challenge my load a bit. Whereas normally for the time to do something for 2 minutes, or for 1 minute, I would have gone a little bit lighter. Since we just have one set, I'm going to just allow myself to superset. So it's kind of as many reps as possible within the time frame. Go ahead and sit back into your child's pose. Reach the arms forward, sit your hips back, take a few deep breaths. I think it's really healthy to center yourself on the mat, to really bring yourself, your mindset, and your agenda, your game plan, and your focus to what's ahead. Our next 30 minutes, not a very long amount of time in terms of what you could be working on in your workout. I do think 30 minutes is extremely effective though. Push your hips up and back. You can really drive yourself to intensity, higher intensity in your 30 minutes, and it gives you maybe time to supplement with some other workouts or styles throughout the day. All right, so we're in our downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Feel those calves stretch. Definitely feel my calves from that heavy calf day. And here we are back into the legs. Go ahead and bring your right leg forward outside your right hand. Keep your left leg lifted for me and just let your hips, or your left knee, I guess you need your toe on the ground, but let your hips sway left and right. And then go ahead and see if you can bring your right elbow down as far as possible inside your right foot. Getting a little twist through the mid-back. Now go ahead and drop that left knee, come up, hinge back. You're going to come over your hamstring, that straightened leg, bounce your leg just a bit. And then let's switch it up, bringing the core involved, back up to your down dog, and then you're going to bring your left leg forward, keeping your right knee lifted. Let your hips sway a little bit side to side. And then let your elbow drop on that left side, dropping in just a bit. Perfect. All right, bring that left leg back, and we're going to walk our hands to the feet, feet to the hands. Hinge over the legs, let your knees bend. Again, just let your hips shift left and right. So come to whatever position with your knees where your hands can get flat on the floor. I didn't mention we will need a wall. So we're going to be doing a wall sit today. So if you have a wall available somewhere in the vicinity to lean on, that would be fantastic. That's going to be our first leg exercise today, is just a held wall sit. We're going to hold for 2 minutes. So then from there, we're going to go into a back fly. So like I said, our back sets are going to be 1 minute, and then we'll have 1 minute transition before we're back into 2 minutes with the legs. We're going to be hitting up a quad lean, and then a Superman, glute bridge, locomotive, curtsy lunge, dead row, lateral lunge, and back taps. All right, go ahead and sit back on your heels for a second. Just make sure the knees are ready, hips are ready. All right, right arm up and over, left arm up and over. All right, I think that's good. Let's get this show on the road. All right, so go ahead and find your position on your wall. I'll get the timer going once we're there. So make sure that you have your knees in a 90-degree angle and pretty much right over your heels. We're going to try to find that positioning where the knees and toes are straight ahead Find a tug of war both directions. So you're trying to pull your knees in at the same time you're trying to push them out. Slide your low back into the wall, maybe even put the back of your head on the wall. And then grab and engage through the core, open through the chest. Try your best not to push on the thighs with your hands, but just hold those hands steady on your hips. And then figure out different places where you want to wrap your thighs. So grabbing the inner thighs, finding your hamstrings, your outer thighs, the glutes. It all plays a wonderful part. But quads can get quite activated with a wall sit. I think it's important to find the hamstrings to help support. All right, we'll do a little time check. We just passed halfway. We have 50 seconds to go. If you need to take a little break, like I said, feel free. And then come back. Great opportunity to just focus on your breath. Check in with the core. Feel that little tailbone tuck. Our back flies are going to be next, so no transition time from legs to back. Stay in the moment. Flex into those thighs. Find your glutes. Find your hamstrings. And time. Okay, come on up. Shake the legs out. And then we're going to go back flies. Belly firm, of course. Engage between your shoulder blades. Finding that neutral spine in your back. Focusing on the grab coming through your rhomboids. So the elbows are getting pulled from the flexion of the rhomboids, which are the muscles between the shoulder blades and under the traps. Still using those legs for support. 3, 2, and 1. All right, go ahead, head to your down dog. Push your hips up and back, pedal out the feet. So next up, we're gonna have a quad lean. I'm gonna use my 20 pound. So going for the 2 minutes, we're gonna have our body on the ground, knees will be bent, we'll be kneeling, and then we're gonna lean back. Super good quad set. Make sure you're grabbing and controlling with the core here. Go ahead and pull the hips all the way forward, drop to the ground, open the chest, a little back extension here. Okay, we have 12 seconds. Grab your dumbbell, hold it at your chest, tuck your hips, and make sure the core is super grabbed. So lean back as far as you can, and then draw your body back up. Just stack your hips over the knees at the top, and then you head back. So there's no shifting or bending in your hips. They just lean back with the shoulders, and then you're driving through those quads to get the body back up. You definitely have good flexion on the glutes though, because that's what's going to help protect your low back, so we don't arch the low back. After our quad lean, we have a row press. So it's like a renegade row to a press. If that doesn't work for you, then you can do a lawnmower. Lean, lean, lean. Flex, flex, flex. These do not need to be rushed. They're way better not rushed. So you find that little hang time there in the back. only as far as your knees are comfortable with, and you don't pass that point of no return. Core is still strong, chest is still tall. So we'll be planking on our dumbbells. I'm going to still use my 20s here. And then we're going to row the arm up into the chest, pulling from the elbow, and then press straight overhead. So you have to use a lot of back and a lot of core for all that stability. Lean, flex, contract. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so set up your plank. Whew. Stretch through those legs real quick first. So row the bell and press. You go whatever pace you have. You have to have a lot of stability in your back and core so that the weight doesn't fall back behind you and put negative pressure on that shoulder. So really focus on your back here, pulling with your lat, pressing with your serratus anterior. Lots of core flexion. Time. Okay. Deadlifts are going to be next. Let's go ahead, lie on the ground, grab a few dead bugs first. Extend that opposite arm and leg. These continue to come up in all the different avenues, different research on some of the best core exercises. And the reason is because it trains, it should be training, if you're activating and thinking about it, to pull those low ribs in. Okay, one more time on the other side. Pull those low ribs in, keep your low back on the ground, and you have flexion in the core without bending and arching. Okay, deadlifts are next. Set your feet so they're pretty much straight ahead. Hinge your hips back, thrust up. So, deadlifts are all about your glutes and hamstrings. So hinging back, you're not bending your knees much at all. I like a soft bend, but not a deep bend. So you want to make sure you're not confusing your hinge with a squat. Slide into those glutes. Feel the heels grip into the ground. Your core stays strong and locked. Remember, you can stop, take a little break, come back. It's up to you. Focus those glutes. So you're opening the hip flexors. In fact, if you sit much during the day, deadlifts and kettlebell swings are a great antagonist move for sitting. Because you get your glutes and open the hip flexors. Time. Superman is next. Or Superwoman. Belly strong. So, watch here. You're just lifting to a safe height, flexing your upper back, not your neck, using hamstrings and glutes to lift the legs. And even though you're lying on your belly, still activated, flexed and firm, holding support. Feel your back flex. Keep your chin tucked. So you're not pulling your back, the back of the head back. Time. All right, go into your child's pose. Okay, next up we're going to have a glute bridge and a locomotive. Okay, come up. Let's hit some cat-cows. Great activation for the core and lengthening, stretching for the core. Good for the back. So with your glute bridges, you can go up and down or you can stay isometric. I'm going to at least start isometric and really focus on building my own self-awareness. Okay, go ahead and flip over. 10 seconds. My own self-flexion and awareness of the body, pelvic alignment. Tuck your tailbone, lift the hips, and go. So I like isometric because it helps get me to that position, that point where I can feel my glutes engage, but then I have an extra little tuck. I can find that tuck through the tailbone, pulling the belly button back so that I don't put any tension or pressure on the low back. Then, I don't know how to best explain it. I guess I feel like I'm spiraling, like I'm trying to wrap a string, but it's my muscular flexion around my thighs and flex the glutes. So I'm squeezing those cheeks as much as possible. Then I kind of push into my feet and pull back just a bit, and you'll feel a little more of that high hamstring, a little more of your glutes. Feel free to put your arms wherever you would like. Find your breath and focus on the flexion. Shoulders, pelvis, knees lined up. The knees squeeze together without touching. Find your glutes. If you can build heat here on your own without having to hold weight, then you can get even further with training your legs and training your glutes. Having that ability to self-flex through an isometric hold first is a huge win and huge. It'll build huge results for adding in weight later on. No low back tension. If you do, it might mean that you need to drop your hips a little, tuck the tailbone more, and time. Ooh, okay, coming up, locomotives. 1 minute. One leg a little forward, one leg a little back. We can switch our feet halfway between. Feel the back do the work. The core holds strong. Switch your feet if you would like. Next up is a curtsy lunge, and I'm going to do that unweighted. Just body weight for my 2 minutes. I guess we'll have our recovery first, so. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. All right, so take your right leg forward. Straight toes are up. Bend your left knee. Pull your right hip back and your left hip forward. Hinge over those legs. Come up and switch. Left leg forward. Straighten the leg. That right knee's bent. Getting that stretch. Oh, those locomotives got my heart rate up. All right, let's do a standing cat-cow. Elbows on your knees. Open the chest. And then round. Open. And round. Open. And round. So far, happy with all my selections. Feeling the heat. Here we go. In all the right places. Building some sweat. Go as fast or as slow as you would like. The wonderful thing about curtsy lunges is that you're getting that nice hip mobility along with strength. Lots of core flexion, or else you will feel the low back. Drop your hips as opposed to leaning forward. So just like with your regular lunge, you want to lean teeny bit over the front leg, keeping that long neutral spine. We're pushing up through the front heel, wrapping that thigh all the way around. Square the shoulders to the front leg. Good job. Keeping the range. Dead row is next. Keep it going, keep it going. Time. Okay, back into our hinge, neutral spine, hips are back. Pull your elbows back. Keeping your upper middle back doing the work. Your core supports your low back. That's what's holding strength and support for your hinge. Your thighs are still involved. They have to support the pelvis. Put it in the right spot. Lengthen the back. Feel the back muscles do the pull. Time. All right. Back into your child's pose. Shift your hips back. Reach the arms forward. So grip your fingers into the ground. Okay. Go a few bird dogs. Tighten up through the core. A lateral lunge is next. We're going to go side to side. And I'm going to hold one 20-pound dumbbell. Making sure the core stays strong to keep the pelvis still. So the goal here is to try not to allow your body to shift. Okay, let's come up. All right. Side to side. Step out and over. In, out and over. Sink it back. So watch that your straight leg stays straight. Push the hips back. Keep the chest reaching forward. Watching your core, watching the pelvis. Feel how much you can grab into the non-working leg. Kind of bring that isometric heat. Lock into the belly. Lengthen the back. Flex into your upper back. Feel the body, check in. Take those scans. Back taps are next. I'll use my 20s. Time. Okay. Might have to take a few breaks in this one. Whew. Last one though. Let your weights kind of hang. Belly strong. Doesn't have to be a huge hinge. Just a small lean forward. Opening through the chest. Trying to stop your dumbbells right at the thighs. So we're feeling those back muscles again, because if you swing, you're not incorporating the back. You're just allowing the shoulders to swing and have momentum. Oh, 3, I'm gonna keep going. I took a break in the front. Whew. All right, let's go ahead and finish with a dead bug, and then we'll stretch. Take your time. Don't rush. Keep checking in with the core. Being able to contract and hold that low back on the ground. Extend your arm and leg. Breathe. And keep everything flexed. It's super good. Super advanced. I've been doing these for so long. And while they don't burn, like the heat is different than some of the other ab work or core work that we do. I can definitely feel that deep grab, which is exactly what we're going for. All right, set your feet so that they're a little wider than your hips. Put your arms out wide. Both knees rotate to the left, and then put your left foot on top of your right knee, your right quad. And then let that knee drop down to the ground. Find length from that right kneecap all the way through the quad, the hip flexor, side of your hip, side of your body, and then up out through the shoulder. Get your breath going. Meaning just kind of check in with it. Notice what's going on. All right, release your top foot. Bring everything in. We're going to go ahead and hug the knees into the chest. Take a little rock, and then we'll go to the other side. So set your feet back down a little wider than your hips. Your knees are going to rotate out. Right foot goes on top of the left knee, and then relax into it. Same as the other side. Lengthening, breathing. All right, and then go ahead and release that foot. This time we'll go happy baby. So bring your hands inside your legs and then outside the feet, grabbing onto the outsides of the feet with your hands, and then pull side to side. So this is another great way to just open the hips to help release the back. All that back work, the hinging, plus just doing things like that for long duration can put a little fatigue into the back. So good to check in there. And then we'll go ahead and hit our figure four. So cross your left ankle over the right knee and release your hands around that right thigh. Dig your left knee into the left elbow and pull back. Take a second, think back over your work. Where was it difficult? Where could maybe you have pushed a little more? Or are you happy with how everything turned out? Cross your right ankle over the left knee. Be happy with today, but then maybe just keep in mind for next time. All right, rock and roll your way up. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Cross your right leg over the top. We're going to do a half cow face. Lean over the leg. Whew, that is a nice, intense hamstring stretch. And then we're going to twist over that front leg to the right. So if your right leg's up, twist to the right. And then we'll switch to the other side. Cross your left knee over the right leg, hinge forward. Feel that stretch. It's kind of traveling all the way up. Achilles, calf, my inner thigh. Get you where you need it. Okay, and then twist over the left. So make sure you're lifting first and then twist through that mid back so the hips are staying level. All right, draw your feet in nice and wide. Then push yourself up into your squat. Maybe take a little stretch and twist here. And then we'll come up to standing. One more lean over those legs. Remember, with your hamstring stretch from standing, push the hips back. Then lean forward. That hamstring. All right. Great work. I will see you again tomorrow.